Good evening, everybody. This is Matt Shea, State Representative from Spokane Valley, Washington, here once again on Readout News, thanks to Sherry Diwali. It is 11 o'clock on Saturday night, and I've obtained more information, another smoking gun in regards to the BLM and their case down in Nevada. And particularly this time, it is a list of what they perceived is there vulnerabilities in the case. I want to talk very quickly about who this memo is from. It's from the Assistant Special Agent in Charge, Kent Kleeman, and it is a memorandum of activity specifically in regards to his collection and review of Special Agent Clint Wooten's Gold Butte investigative case materials. And in this memorandum, it's a 3-page memorandum, it says that on October 14th, 2016, there was notes that Special Agent Wooten had prepared for a conference call with the heading, quote, potential issues / critical vulnerabilities, end quote. And this very specifically is referring to the case, these critical vulnerabilities in the case of the BLM. I want to read off the 4 critical vulnerabilities that Special Agent Wooten believes were in the BLM's case. And some of these are kind of, again, shocking, just like what we broke nationally on Friday. These are very shocking. And once again, I believe warrant an investigation not only by Congress, but by Secretary Zinke and also by the Trump administration. So number 1, quote, BLM was heavy-handed, even cruel, in the enforcement of the court order. I want to read that again. BLM was heavy-handed, even cruel, in the enforcement of the court order, end quote. That brings up several questions. Is he referring to the fact that instead of the cattle being rounded up pursuant to the court order, they were actually killed and they attempted to bury them in a mass grave? Are they talking about the fact that he is referring to the bulls of Clive and Bundy being shot, which clearly was an effort to destroy the herd, not round them up? Is Special Agent Wooten referring to the fact that they established a First Amendment zone, which for most of us Americans is ridiculous? America is a First Amendment zone. And is he referring to maybe the deployed snipers down there? Or is he referring to the fact that people had been tased or thrown in the dirt or had been harassed in what was essentially a public right-of-way? Those are all questions that are raised by this statement by, again, Special Agent Wooten, that this is a critical vulnerability in the BLM's case. Number 2 in this memo, quote, BLM lacked law enforcement authority in their case, end quote. Is he referring to the fact that some of this did not occur on federal land? Is he referring to the fact that 43 U.S.C. Section 1733 C1 really clearly says that when the BLM feels that they need assistance, that they need to rely on, to the greatest extent possible, local law enforcement for enforcement actions? Again, raising a lot of questions with this statement that this was a critical vulnerability in the BLM's case. Number 3, quote, BLM is a portion of the resources such as grazing. I want to read that one again, because for all of us that have been watching the Western lands issue for all of these years, we have brought up the fact that the BLM, the Forest Service, are not good managers of the land. But here, Special Agent Wooten is admitting that one of the critical vulnerabilities in the BLM's case is, quote, BLM is a poor manager of the resources such as grazing, end quote. I think that really speaks for itself, but doesn't that raise a question to all of us? If BLM cannot perform the purpose for which it was even created, why does BLM exist in the first place? And really raises the question of whether we need a BLM at all. And I know many of you out there have comments on that. But for those of us that are elected officials that have BLM managed lands in our states, Washington State has 435,000 acres. Again, this raises many, many questions about what is really going on behind the scenes at the BLM. And lastly, number 4, quote, Dan Love had a personal agenda and is immoral. And then in parentheses it says jury appeal, in parentheses, end quote. So again, raising questions that really were also raised last Thursday when we broke this story nationally about some of the allegations in the communication between Special Agent Wooten and the National Criminal Discovery Coordinator that were saying that Special Agent in charge, Dan Love, may have committed sexual misconduct or at least allowed it to go on in the office, among many other improprieties that were alleged in that communication. So once again, a smoking gun in the case down in Nevada, and bringing up a lot of questions that, if nothing else, I think warrant a further investigation by Congress. I think warrant a further investigation by the Trump administration and specifically Secretary Zinke. And I want to thank all of you out there, all you American patriots that believe in freedom and liberty, that believe that government exists to protect the rights of life, liberty, property, and the ability to defend the same, because eternal vigilance means that we need, all of us, not just elected officials, but all of us need to be eternally vigilant and need to step up when we have the opportunity to do something about it. And that's what I am doing tonight. And I hope that this spurs further conversation. And please spread this far and wide. I'm going to be posting this document momentarily on my Facebook page again. I will make sure that it gets through to Readout News as well. And once again, thank you to Readout News and Shea Diwali. You've been doing a great job covering this trial. May God bless all of you, and good night.